Testing is just a way to validate that the code you've written works properly with the inputs you believe you have and delivers the outputs you think it should deliver. My name is Adi. I'm a software engineer at Amazon, and in this video, I'm going to explain how testing works in a way I wish it was explained to me. So testing breaks down into four major buckets. Unit tests check if the functions you write, basically the smaller programs you write in part of your larger software or microservice, if those work properly. And by the time you have all your unit tests passing, usually the microservice you're trying to create is like starting to be ready to go. However, unit tests come in really handy when you come back to your code base and start making changes, because sometimes things are interconnected and you might change one thing in like a different function or a method or whatever it may be, and then it'll break a unit test somewhere else. And this makes sure that everything is working properly. Next, you have integration tests. Now you have all your functions, your objects, your classes, every part of your code base, and it's all working together, right? You have different functions that come one after another. And so sequentially, you want to make sure that everything in that chain works. And sometimes you might make a change to the function A ran, function B, you might have made a change to, and all of a sudden that breaks and that breaks function C, D, and E. And so integration tests check if that chain works properly. That if you got your perfect input into function A, the starting, would you get the perfect output on your last function, like function Z? Now, you did have an input into function A, and you're assuming it came in perfectly, but you want to also validate that your understanding of those inputs are true. So you start working with end-to-end tests. Oftentimes, the inputs will come from other software or programs written by other teams or services that your sister teams or completely different departments might be actually the creators of. And so end-to-end tests, instead of just imagining that the original input is true, they actually make a call to that service and check, does the output that comes out, is it actually what we expect it to be? And then this data we send out at like our final function, function Z, does it actually enter the other team's service that might be taking our functions as its like our data as their input? Does it like gracefully go into their service? And so it makes sure that like your service and your systems integrate well into your whole company's services and systems. And then lastly, you have performance testing. So there's testings like canaries, which take like user or production level data. It's usually like it has all the user information removed. And then it throws that at your service or your program forever, like constantly at like one test per minute, for example. And it just sees at any point would it break, just so it can model maybe the real world. And then lastly, you have load tests that throw 1,000 user requests and see does any part of your like cloud services break. And that's all there is to testing.